As Odisha basks in the historic achievements of the national hockey teams in Tokyo Olympics, more recognition continued to flow in from the highest levels, with parliamentary panel calling upon states to follow its models for sports development. In the next Fireside Chat, we'll hear our guest speakers, Vineel Krishna, Special Secretary to Chief Minister and Commissioner-Cum-Secretary, Sports and Youth Services Department, Government of Odisha, decoding Odisha's model for sports development. I would like to invite Arpit Gupta, Assistant Editor, ETGovernment, to lead the conversation. Welcome, gentlemen. Please take the conversation ahead, Arpit.
Dear viewers and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special Fireside Chat on decoding Odisha's model for sports development, a part of Transforming Odisha Conclave 2022. On behalf of ETGovernment, the Economic Times, I, Arpit Gupta, welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Vineel Krishna, Special Secretary to Chief Minister and Commissioner-Cum-Secretary, Sports and Youth Services Department, Government of Odisha. Welcome, Mr. Krishna.
Thanks, Arpit.
Sports has been one of the priority sectors for the Odisha government over the last decade. The state government has invested significantly in sports between 2010-11 and 2021-22. Starting with the sports budget of 28 crore rupees in 2010-11 to 301 crore rupees in 2020-21 and 405 crore rupees in 2021 and 22, with a major portion dedicated to infrastructure development and hosting major events. As part of efforts for development of the sports sector in the state, the Odisha government enhanced its sports budget in the state's budget for financial year 22 and 23 as well. The government has allocated a total of 602 crore rupees for the sports and youth services sector in 22 and 23, while an amount of 411 crore rupees has been provided for the development and management of sports infrastructure. 115 crore rupees is provided for promotion of sports education. And last but not the least, 11 crore rupees for state support to Hello India. Let me begin the discussion by asking first question to Mr. Krishna. Sir, the government of Odisha is investing in transforming the sports landscape from the grassroots right to the elite level. What is the Odisha model of sports development and what are your goals? Over to you.
First of all, thanks for having me, Arpit. It's really a pleasure to talk about our activities on this platform. Sports is something that is very, very important for the state government. It has been going on since last so many years, but especially after the corona the pandemic, the importance of sports, health, and fitness has increased a lot. And therefore, you can see in the last few years, there is a significant increase in the budget for the sports activities. And a major push is being given for the infrastructure development. While infrastructure is definitely an important component and the development is happening across the state, more importantly is about how are we taking forward the coaching programs, how are we developing our grassroots. This is also a very important aspect of the entire program. And if we have to tell in very simple terms, what is this model of Odisha towards sports development, we would like to call it as the model of partnerships, because sports has multiple stakeholders. It's not just about the government. Government is only a facilitator, and that we are very clear about it. There is a huge amount of interest from the corporates also to be partnering in sports, but they need to be facilitated. There has to be a platform through which they can do it. So along with the corporates and the government providing the support role, we are basically trying to push the activities through these sports federations, both at the state level and the national level. And of course, the major stakeholders are the coaches, the players, and also a lot of sports science related staff and all that is there. So we are trying to see how through our model we can bring all of them together. I'll just give one specific example, which is very famous in the context of Odisha's role in the sports. That is with respect to our involvement with hockey, the development of hockey. So here our partnership is with the Hockey India, that's the National Federation. We have also partnered with at the international level, the FIH, the International Hockey Federation. Then there is locally, we have that our own state level federation, district level associations. Then we have also brought in partnership through Tata Group. So Tata is a major stakeholder in hockey for our development of the game at the state level and the central level. So all these factors put together is allowing a certain level of infrastructure development, where we are building one of the big stadiums in Rourkela for the upcoming World Cup. We have already constructed one of the very good stadiums in Kalinga, Bhubaneswar. Along with this, there is the competitions which we are supporting Hockey India and the FIH. So in 2018, we have conducted the Hockey World Cup. Again, in 2023, we are going to conduct both in Bhubaneswar and in Rourkela. So these competitions help the Indian teams to perform against the best of the teams in the world, and a slight home advantage because the home crowd will be there. They're used to the stadium. So a little bit that confidence levels increases as they start seeing success against the best teams. So these competitions help a lot. Then through the Tata Group, we have set up the High Performance Center, where the junior players, sub-junior players are being mentored. They are being given the best of the coaching facilities. So in a way, it is a multidimensional. Along with this, we are looking at the grassroots level. So we are constructing nearly around 20 synthetic hockey turfs. Currently, it's going on across the state, where we are investing in the development of the hockey training centers. And again, through the Tata Group, we are going to deploy the coaches and provide a top-class coaching right from the grassroots level. So this model of Odisha's model for sports development is a model of partnerships, where the government acts as a facilitator. Wherever we have the strength in terms of infrastructure funding, we are scaling it up. Then we are bringing together the corporates, the national federations, the coaches. You'll be happy to know that currently, even for our own state hockey development through Hockey India, we have actually got David John, who used to be the high performance director at the national level. Now he is going to help us in developing hockey at the state level. So you can see the kind of intensity with which we want to move forward in a game hockey, which is very popular in Odisha. So I'll just briefly mention these activities to give a broad context in which we are working. And this we are trying to see how we can replicate in other sports disciplines as well.
Correct. You talked about the Odisha development model, and you called it a partnership model. You basically highlighted a couple of initiatives around the hockey, but I would also like to understand what are the latest initiatives for other sports of the state government to transform the overall sports sector in Odisha, and how are these initiatives actually going to bring about a wave of change in sports training and development of a holistic ecosystem in Odisha?
So hockey is only one that got highlighted because of the Tokyo Olympics and the performance of Indian teams that Odisha government has supported in some manner for the development of the hockey teams. But actually, this is something that we are doing across the many disciplines, where we feel we have potential players within our state who can move forward. To name a few, we have athletics, swimming, weightlifting, shooting, and football, especially women's football. In this manner, we are trying to see how we can move forward. Even in indigenous sports like Kho-Kho, Yogasana, the Malakham, in all these things, we are trying to see how we can support more and more the activities. And we have started establishing the high performance centers for the last 3 years. Unfortunately, because of COVID, there were certain disruptions, but we hope that this will gather more momentum in the coming months. Again, here it's a model of partnerships. For example, in terms of athletics, we have partnership with the Reliance Youth for Sports. So they bring in the coaches. We have coaches from Britain, and also our local coaches and national level coaches who are training the athletes. We provide the entire infrastructure. We take care of the athletes related expenses. Similarly, for example, in swimming we have again tie-up with JSW Sports. So they are taking care of the high performance center for swimming. We are investing in infrastructure. A very latest world-class indoor aquatic complex is coming up. Probably it will be inaugurated in the next 5 to 6 months. So infrastructure is again we are building. Then they are deploying the coaches at 20 of our swimming pools, where we are having swimming pools across the state. So swimming is again something we are moving forward very quickly. And we have weightlifting. Weightlifting, just recently we have completed the national weightlifting championships. So again, we are having tie-ups with the national federation, and we are trying to see how we can build a kind of a national center of excellence here in Bhubaneswar. Since we have a lot of talent in weightlifting as well. So again, there we have tie-up with 10 Sports, who are our HPC partner. It's headed by Mr. Anil Kumble. He's the sports management company of Mr. Anil Kumble. So there again, there is a corporate partner, one of the corporates from Odisha, who are supporting that initiative. Similarly, we have established a sports science center, because sports science again is a very important component. So we have established we have centers. One as part of our partnership with Khelo India, we have established. Another is with Mr. Abhinav Bindra. He has a sports science and rehabilitation center. It's called Abhinav Bindra Target Performance Center. So that is the shooting is again something that we have partnered with Mr. Gagan Narang and Aditya Birla Group. So that again, a big shooting range is coming up in Bhubaneswar. And after seeing these models and these partnerships, now we have many corporates, banks who are wanting to be partnering with Odisha government in trying to pick up one of the sports. Model is similar. We invest in infrastructure. To some extent, we take care of the athletes related expenses, and they bring in the flexibility of getting the best of the coaches, designing the coaching program, bringing that flexibility, which is very much required in the coaching programs. So these are just an example. Apart from this, you'll be also happy to note that we support rugby. Rugby is not much talked about in India, but we have a rugby-related agreement with the Rugby India, because our boys and girls perform very well in rugby. They are in the top 3 in the country. Then football, as I mentioned, women football is something that's very important. We have a tie-up with AFF. The FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup. Most probably, we are hoping that it will, because of COVID, earlier it was 5 venues. Now they are going to make it to 3 venues. That is what was the latest update. And we are hoping that Bhubaneswar will be one of the venues. So women football, again, Indian Women's League is happening here this month. We have a very good league at the state level. And in the men's football as well, we have our own Odisha FC team in the ISL, which we support. And the youth teams, the under 16 and under 19 teams, the Indian Arrows team, their home base is in Bhubaneswar. We have just completed 5 FIFA standard football pitches in the city, along with one artificial synthetic football pitch. So football is also something that is popular in the state, and we are seeing how we can move ahead in swimming as well. So you can with these mentioning of these activities, I'm sure you can appreciate that it is not just about hockey, but there's a wide range of activities that are going on in the state with various disciplines.
And I would like to add that after the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics, it has brought about a paradigm shift in the way people perceive sports. I would also like to understand how the Odisha government is planning to promote sports education in a big way. When you are talking about promotion of not only hockey, but all other sports. So sports education is also one of the important component that I would like to
Absolutely.
understand.
As we said, the focus on sports is not just about trying to win medals. Medals will definitely be one of the main something that we need to, because that inspires. One Saina or one Sindhu, it inspires thousands or lakhs of people to take up badminton. So similarly, a medal is very, very important for people to get inspired. But sports is more towards building how a healthy and fitness-oriented society. So therefore, that has to start right from the school level. So sports as part of the school curriculum in the coming academic year is something that we are trying to see how it can be done in a more intense manner. So all the physical education teachers in the state, they are being already during the COVID period, we had done an online training. So in the coming few months, we'll be actually doing a physical training for all the PET teachers. Then we have a government colleges for physical education. We are upgrading that infrastructure and seeing how we can do more, not just about just a BPED courses, but more of a certification courses, short term and so on, so that we have proper authorized certified coaches in the state in large numbers, so that whatever the coaching methodologies are rapidly changing. So in terms of specific sports discipline and also physical literacy as a general way of dissemination of that knowledge. So all these will be part of the sports education program that we are trying to see how we can do. I would also like to mention that we are in talks with International Olympic Committee to see how Olympic value education program is something that we can roll out in our two cities of Bhubaneswar and Rourkela as a legacy for our Hockey World Cup. And hopefully once that is piloted and it's successful, we would like to roll it across the state as well.
I would also like to understand from you how technology is helping the overall development of sports and youth development department. Since Odisha is also one of the leading state in terms of adoption of technologies, and Chief Minister also has a 5T vision program.
Absolutely, technology is something that that is very, very important for the development of sports. I mean, at the international level, the margin of success is very, very small, and that fine difference comes only from sports science and sports technology. So therefore, as I mentioned, in Kalinga Stadium itself, we have established a sports science center. There are two wings. One is our Center of Excellence, which we have done it through Khelo India initiative. And then there is this Abhinav Bindra Target Performance Center. So we have one of the most latest equipment, which is again, we are trying to see how that it can be more of a data driven, so that all these machines are integrated. So our athletes are regularly, they're getting trained on these machines. And it's not only about the, there is definitely in the country also, there is a capacity constraint in terms of the availability of trained manpower in this field of sports technology and sports science. So therefore, even sports management. So therefore, it's very important that we are doing sports management courses through XZBS, which is a combination of the joint venture of Xavier's Institute and Emlyon Business School in France. You'll be very happy to note that shortly later this month, we are organizing sports and IT as a webinar in partnership with FICCI. So this is again, we are trying to see how we can bring together the startups and people who have this technology in the sports field, how they can be brought together. And this is something that we have done just before the COVID in 2020, February 2020. But now, since people are more used to the online platforms, even though COVID has come down, but still we thought that now people are more used to the virtual platform and they are very comfortable that way, and it is also productive and efficient. So we are going to have a platform-based thing. It's not a physical one, but nowadays this all this experience of virtual experience is there. So this is something that we are also trying to see how we can support and promote the IT startups who are working in the field of sports. So these are all some initiatives we have taken, but we have a lot more to do in this field.
So before we wrap up the discussion, I would like to take quick closing comments from you. The Odisha government's vision is aligned to India's vision to be among top 10 countries in sports. Going forward, what are your priorities for transforming the sports in Odisha and making it the sports capital of India?
So our vision of our Honorable Chief Minister, which we often quote, is that sports for youth and youth for future. So while as I mentioned that winning the medals and becoming in the top 10 is definitely a dream for every citizen of this country. But at the same time, our Honorable Chief Minister's vision is towards how we take towards a more healthy and fitness-oriented society. So therefore, sports in terms of the infrastructure is something that is very, very critical, because that will also help in people coming and experiencing sports in a more professional manner. So you will be happy to know that almost 2,000 crores worth projects is currently undergoing under progress across the state. So we are hoping that by next year around this time, most of these projects will be completed. As part of this, we are constructing 89 indoor stadiums. So that is coming up across the urban areas within the state. While infrastructure is coming up, at the same time, we are also trying to see how we can ramp up the professional coaching programs in all these locations. That is a bit of a challenge because we don't have enough coaches. So that is where we are trying to partner with the federations and bring in that certification program so that quickly over the next few months, we are trying to see how we can certify most of our coaches, bring them up to the certain skill levels. And most importantly, apart from infrastructure and coaching, is the competitions. If we have regular competitions, then it is something that people will be drawn towards the sports. The kids will be motivated regularly if they keep participating in the competitions. So we are trying to see how it should not be just an annual state level championships, how we can have league formats between the cities at the state level, so that the competitions are done very regularly. So we are hoping that a combination of all these factors of infrastructure, the competitions, the coaching, the sports education, all of it will lead to a more sports-oriented society in the state and make Odisha as the leading sports destination in the country. Thank you.
And we hope that these initiatives will definitely transform the sports sector in Odisha. With this, I conclude this fireside chat on Decoding Odisha's model for sports development, part of Transforming Odisha Conclave 2022. And on behalf of ETGovernment, I sincerely thank Mr. R. Vineel Krishna for joining us as the guest speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Krishna and Arpit, for such an engaging and meaningful conversation. With that, we'll take a short break. You all can proceed to the expo area to network with the partners at their booths. You can also engage with the people using the networking lounge feature.